The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 5th day of December, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. How's everybody feeling today? Happy Thursday. We are here. David Michael Wilson says, happy, thankful Thursday, everyone. Another day above ground. Anika DeShields, because good morning, TDH, and a good morning to you as well. Hey, folks, remember we were talking about, the Royal Gazette yesterday, and we were talking about, access to news and so on. Well, I'm out of, my, free reading on the Royal Gazette already, so I guess I have to actually really be a man of my word and pay for a subscription at this point. I'm out of articles, and I feel like I only read one article, or maybe two, but yeah, apparently I have to pay up now. So I don't know if anyone else has experienced that as of yet, but I don't know how my budget's looking, but I guess if I want to read news from the Royal Gazette, I'm gonna have to pay up. Anybody else reached their quota of free articles on the Royal Gazette yet? Let us know. But yep, I definitely did. So if anything, that means that somebody in the audience will always have information that we can discuss and others won't. So Suzanne Ingham says, awesome Thursday, Jamel and Maya. I didn't want to get out of bed this morning, but I was at work early. I don't know how cold it is today, but on those cold mornings, you definitely don't want to get out of bed, right? You definitely don't want to get out. And I had one of those yesterday. But this morning, I had to get up early and watch Good Morning America because of what happened. Did you all hear what happened yesterday? The CEO of United Care, which is the biggest health insurer in the United States, I believe, he got murdered yesterday morning on his way to their annual shareholder meeting. So a lot of crazy controversy around that, but been trying to understand that per se. But what's strange to me is, and may not be strange to you all, we're all different, but what's strange is the amount of people celebrating this, a victory over capitalism. I don't know. I was talking to someone yesterday. It's almost like we've become, as a society, so desensitized to murder. But I don't want to dismiss anyone's feelings because, I've seen some stories where some people were denied, healthcare claims, haven't paid into it all these years. You saw, I think it's Anthem, Blue Shield, Blue Cross just made a big announcement yesterday for people, I think Connecticut, New Jersey, and somewhere else where they're not going to pay for the anesthesia if it goes over a certain amount. So it's just so much. It's so much. I don't know if you've been paying attention on global issues, what's happening in Korea. I think the leader said it's martial law at this point. If you open your eyes, and again, the news can be so depressing. Thankful, our team tries to bring some positivity and good stories to us. It's so much going on. All we can do is try to find the positives in that, and do our best to live, in ways that are going to help us grow and be the best people that we can be. Anyway, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Travelling Trotty, Necheeka Trott. She's coming on. We're talking about, just traveling beyond Bermuda. She shares a lot of her experiences. She actually not just shared on social media, but took some people on some excursions to experience some things this year. So looking forward to the conversation with Travelling Trotty, and hopefully it inspires others. I tell you what, I'll say it when she comes on. Not gonna say it now, but just know I'm inspired when I see people who have the ability to travel sharing their experiences. It definitely helps you understand that there's a world beyond where we live and what we know. And I think that's so important for us all to understand. All right, it's going to be holiday trivia today, folks. More daily players, more holiday trivia. Don't forget to subscribe on our website and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, I must say this, that we've announced 3 winners from the survey so far. 2 of them, Sugarpool Ent and FN Walker, did not claim their prizes. So we've only had Hassel Nicole, who I think sent an email. Audience, the whole point of giveaways is that you're tuned in. So if you're not tuned in, then you won't know to send an email to collect your prize. So Sugarpool Ent and FN Walker, we appreciate you filling out the survey. Sorry that you were not able to send an email to collect your winnings, but maybe you'll get another shot a bit later. All right, well, let's jump into today's conversation. So I want to give credit. I never know if I can say people's names or share their info when they help to figure something out. But this actually came from an audience member, what we're going to be discussing today. But the Bermuda Department of Statistics last week shared some data, right? They shared some data regarding employment statistics in Bermuda. And I think it's quite interesting and fascinating, the data that was shared with us. And I'll do my best to share everything with you. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to try to bring everything up for you. But the question of the morning is, what can government do to improve employment statistics for Bermudians? What can government do? And also, this question here, yes or no, are you bothered that Bermudians make less than the median average? Like, are you bothered by that? Well, what do I mean? Okay, so let's go to the average that, according to this, the median gross annual income, right, is $70,238. $70,238. All right, that's the median gross income. That's the median gross income. Do you believe the average Bermudian makes more or less than this? Do you believe is more or less? Do you think the average Bermudian makes more or less than this? Do you think the average Bermudian makes more or less than this? I mean, the answer's in the question, right? What do you think? Anika DeShield says, she's asking, where can we review this data? It's on their Facebook page. We can share the link. It's on the Department of Statistics Facebook page. But what do you think? Do you think the average Bermudian, and I'm saying Bermudian, not spouse of Bermudians or non-Bermudian, do you think the average Bermudian, right? Or sorry, let me take it that way. Let me rephrase that. Do you think Bermudians make more or less? Not the average Bermudian. Do you think Bermudians make more or less than this? Yes or no? More or less? Do you think Bermudians make more or less? More or less than the median gross annual income? More or less? Anika DeShield says less. Suzanne Ingham says a lot less, Jamel. Who makes that kind of money? Okay. Travelling Trotty says less. Okay. What else, audience? Do you think Bermudians make more or less than the gross annual income? Do you think they make more or less than the gross? What are your thoughts? What do you think? And we'll share. But what do you think? Do you believe Bermudians make more or less than the gross annual income of $70,238. What are your thoughts? More or less? More or less? And I'll get back to the comments in a second. I've got one more I want to share. But keep your comments coming. What do you think? More or less? Marquita Lee says less. Pamela Wade says less. Tina Duke says less. Okay. All right. So I mean, was that an easy question, audience? Here's the thing with this kind of information. Sherilyn Johnson says less. Okay. It's very helpful in terms of understanding where we are as a community. But let's go. Give me 2 seconds. We're going to pull it up. I'm sorry, audience. We're going to pull it up for you. And give me 2 seconds. This is live, and this is what happens when we go live. All right. So I'll put the answer up on the screen for you. And I don't think we're able to. Give me 2 seconds. Why are we not working? Hold on 2 seconds. Here we go. Let's try this. Us having a little challenge. Give us 2 seconds. All right. So again, you think Bermudians make less, audience? You think Bermudians make less? You think the average Bermudian makes less, right? You think the average Bermudian makes less, correct? That's what we're going with. All right. Well, let's see. You were correct. You were correct. The Bermudians make $67,187, right? Non-Bermudian spouse of Bermudian makes $81,393. Other non-Bermudians make $82,563. Permanent resident certificate holders make $79,263. Does this bother you at all? Like, are you bothered by this, audience? Are you bothered by that Bermudians make less? Are you bothered by this? Yes or no? Are you bothered by this? Does this concern you? What does this? Are you okay with this? Are you like, you know what? It's not that serious. Does this bother you? What are your thoughts on this? Does this bother you that Bermudians are at 67,187 on average? Non-Bermudian spouse of Bermudian, 81,393. Other non-Bermudian, $82,563. And permanent resident certificate holder, 79,263. Does this bother you? Does this statistic bother you? Let's go a bit deeper. So there's the male and female. So the women are at 74,511. And the male, 66,594. Yeah. This is my favorite. Yeah, I'm still here, audience. I'm still here. The disparity should concern all of us. This disparity should concern all of us. Black people in Bermuda are at $64,814. That's even lower than the Bermudian. White people in Bermuda are just under 100,000 at $96,957. Now, mixed other at $56,829. I didn't write these statistics. I'm just sharing them. I'm just sharing them, audience. Woo indeed, Teray. Woo indeed. Woo indeed. And those can be found in the actual report as well, Anika. These are just some highlights. But this right here, this I'm glad Tina Duke says this. How do these people survive? I ask myself the question all the time. When I speak to people where I live about, you can make 100,000, 115, 20 and struggle in Bermuda. They're like, really? US? I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not easy, man. So the question of the morning is, what can the government do to improve employment statistics for Bermudians? Is there something that the government can do to help with this? Do you think that this is on them? Do they have to, get involved in the private sector and say, look, you have to meet a quota? And because here's what's always bothered me, right? I've worked in quite a few organizations. And I remember when I was working at the Bermuda Tourism Authority, they're easy because you all know them. One of the things that Bill Hemberry as CEO used to, say, or used to come out under the BTA under him is the organization's, 90% Bermudians or whatever, right? Maybe it's because of my personality, but that stuff meant nothing to me. It meant nothing to me the same way how DEI means very little to me. Because what DEI has done and what organizations that say, oh, we have 90% Black people, this and that, what they don't do is delve deeper. Or what positions do the Bermudians and the Black people hold? Because hiring Black people in entry-level positions, that does nothing for equity. They're not in decision-maker roles. They don't have any influence. You don't fix things, to quote Barack Obama, former president of the United States, by putting lipstick on a pig. So I'm very curious as to what the government can do to change this situation. I'm very curious. Suzanne Ingham says, yes, absolutely irritated about making much less than 60,000. Foreigners make more than Bermudians. That is horrible. I don't make 60,000. Michelle Doris says, I have seen wage disparity my whole work career. Very frustrating. Marquita Lee said, that's why so many are leaving. Okay. Nika DeShield says, ensure that succession plan ingredients includes Bermudians. The plan should be clearly defined and measurable to achieve the expected outcomes. Succession plan, and let's stop there. Using the Bermuda Tourism Authority again. The idea that Bill Hemberry left and you replaced him with a white Bermudian did not address the inequities that exist. These results are the exact same thing what we're talking about. And we're not saying just hire any Black person to make, do and to put Black people in spaces to make it look, equal or equitable. That's not how it works. There are qualified people. And when I say qualified, I'm not saying just because they've held certain positions or done something for a long time. I'm saying because they've actually been good at what they've done. There's a difference. There was a thing where people were saying after the US election that this is proof that Black people have to work just as hard or that much harder, right? Is that true? Or is it the fact that others don't have to work hard at all? You see, listen to me, especially PLP supporters and voters. Listen to me very carefully. If you've never voted PLP, if you're an OBA or UBP or whatever you are, listen to this very carefully. just because we have a government that many expected to resolve the inequities in our society, in our community, and they failed at doing that. Just because we have a majority Black government that was built on the backs of Black people fighting against systemic oppression does not mean that racism doesn't still exist and play a key role in our society. Let's not ignore the facts before us. You all like statistics. I challenge them. But since you do, these very statistics tell a story that most of us already know. We've read this book. The question is, what are we going to do about it? One more thing before we bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break, but Sherilyn Johnson says Bermuda is made up of mostly Black, and that is upsetting. Absolutely it is, and it should be upsetting. Anika DeShield says Blacks still have to be 4 times better and more qualified. You know, I speak to many of the sponsors and supporters of the Daily Hour and just Bermuda Communications Group often. And I'm sharing this publicly with you all. I also have conversations with other mediums, you know, in the media space in Bermuda. Very, very often, more often than most people make believe. And one of the things that I'm challenged with, I know so many people who studied journalism or media, broadcast, and communication who no longer work in this space or never did. They went into IB sector or went into tourism or different spaces. It's why I work so hard to create a space where, you know, we can tell our story. We can control the narrative. We can have discussions that are going to lead to a more prosperous generation of people, of leaders. Because if the government can't do something, then we must. And we must create spaces where we can define what it is, how much we make. And when I say how much we make, it's not just about currency and money, but what value do we bring to our community? Last comment before we bring Maya in. Charles H. Jefferson II says, for certain positions held by non-Bermudians, companies should be encouraged to have a succession plan with a Bermudian. Maybe a tax would encourage them. Just a thought. So there is something the government can do. Folks, I hope you will digest this information. I hope you share this information. Your family, your friends, your colleagues. Because if we've learned nothing from the DEI era, if we're honest and we look back and reflect, we must ask ourselves, how did it change our fortunes collectively as a group? Ask ourselves that. Let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour news break. After that, we have Travelling Trotty. I'm looking forward to a fun conversation talking about travel. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you today?
Feeling pretty good.
That's good. You've seen the statistics. You've reported on this before. It's been in the news. It's in the news probably twice a year. Curb shares reports of stuff like this. What about statistics like this concerns you or inspires you?
Well, I remember, I did report on this. I looked back. It was like in 2021 when I put it on my page and like showed how like very little Black people are making in Bermuda compared to like even persons who come to Bermuda and marry a Bermudian or don't marry a Bermudian, whatever work they're in. But when I did pose that question or show the statistics, I also had a lot of people send me anonymously, like it was a lot of responses, their gender, what job they have, and how much they're making either a year or per hour. So that was staggering. A lot of people came in like, hang on, I have that same position. I don't make that much, or I don't do this. Like everything was coming into me like wildfire. And if you want to see it, it's on a story on my page. I'll probably put it up and share it today. So on my story. But that was just wide open for a lot of people. But a lot of people were obviously doing very well in the field. Other people were not. But one thing that did come to light was someone from HR who said that in a lot of times, or they're speaking specifically about women, but this could be said for all, that especially Black people, that they go in and when they get an offer, they don't negotiate. And a lot of businesses leave their margins at like kind of low so that they have wiggle room to negotiate to the price that they're actually willing to pay for. But they'll always start you low. And this HR person said women, they never like came up or negotiate. Men had no issue with negotiating. So I'm like, well, that's another thing that kind of we have to advocate for yourself in these positions and in these roles that you're getting. Say that you deserve more, say that you want more, say, can you go higher? And they said the worst they could say is no, and they'll just stick to the rate, but negotiate, ask for it, and let it know that you have value into this field. Because a lot of people and I don't think businesses would do it just to do it. I mean, they could, but also just the fact that they want to keep their margins low too. And they will in circumstances that they can.
I wonder if that is I wonder what the job categories are for that with people negotiating, because I feel like we live in a time where companies feel like, well, people are desperate, so we can take advantage of them. So as long as they feel like, oh, they'll accept anything we offer, people are more afraid to lose that opportunity, because the company will be like, well, if they don't do it, we'll just get someone else, and that person may do it for even less.
True.
I don't know.
But I feel like, well, this is coming from an HR person specifically, so I don't know if they're like in touch with some sort of like rules or decorum with it. But like if you're asking for it, I don't think they're necessarily allowed to. I have to look at like when it comes to employment laws, like I don't think they're allowed to just like nope, never mind, and we send it because you asked. But that's something in employment laws. Yeah,
it's an interesting one. It's a conversation I think we should definitely carry audience into the water cooler. And Maya, I think we've discussed this on the show before, and audience really, really hear this. Remember, we never discussed salaries before. We were told keep our salary close, don't tell it. That wasn't for our benefit. That was for the benefit of the organization. Right? The organization, so that they can pay people what they want. So if they want to pay Jamel $100,000 versus and Maya for the same job $60,000, the reason we're not discussing it is because the organization doesn't want to be found out, not because of us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there was recently a story actually from Disney that a lot of women who were working at Disney, the same job as their male counterparts, they weren't getting the same pay. And there was like a lawsuit that went through. Anyway, they won. And so they're about to get paid out millions of dollars from Disney because they were doing that. They were underpaying the women versus the men who worked there.
Oh, it's normal in the United States. That's part of the course. It's almost a part of the capitalist society in the United States economically. It is. Real quickly, Maya, before you go to news, just go to these comments by Derek Hendrickson. Makes a great point. He said, this is a tough one for me. We keep wanting to get into the clubs that weren't built for us and expect to become equals. He's correct. He's correct. We don't want to build our own tables. That's what our ancestors had foresaw for us, build our own tables. We want to actually get seats at the tables. Teray Tall says, absolutely negotiate and don't let the market dictate your rates, particularly if you are an extraordinary candidate. Companies, in my experience, will absolutely adjust if they want you. Absolutely. She said, Chikarena says, it's challenging to negotiate when you don't even know what others are paid. And now there are $0 offers when switching roles internally. So you have to leave the company to move ahead. That is a valid point. It's in big corporations, it's much harder to negotiate if you don't know. This is a good point by Mark Officer C. Phillips. He says, I think many organized union jobs payroll is already set according to the company's CBA. Well, yeah, unions, they do it for you. And then Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, When they made the most recent payroll tax changes, I said those changes should have only been for Bermudians and spouses of Bermudians. Any additional income are most likely being sent outside of Bermuda. Interesting thought. And then Traytel says, but also you need to be a high quality candidate, which I think is another conversation. We need to have work ethic. And I said this earlier, Trey, thank you for that, is it's not just about appointing a black face. It's really about pointing the right person. And we have a lot of right people with black faces. All right, I'm done.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour Newsweek brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. So a lot of times we've been talking about bladed article weapons Bermuda and just how frequent that's happening and how many people are like it's happening to, whether it be young and more specifically, like even the males on the island. Wow. Here's a little bit more from a story from the Gazette, but what can actually happen to you when you're actually found with these articles? I know we talked about it, but when it actually happens to somebody, it's kind of different. So a 38-year-old was found with a hatchet and a knife during a traffic stop, has been jailed for 18 months. Anthony Young from Warwick pleaded guilty late last year to possessing a bladed article in a public place in connection with the incident in May 25th, 2023. So magistrate's court heard that police were conducting roadside sobriety checks on Middle Road near the junction with Vale when he had a reason to stop a young man who was traveling west along Middle Road on a motorcycle. The officers arrested Young on an unrelated offense and asked him if he had any weapons, to which he responded that he had a hatchet. Asked why, and he said, in case guys want to act up.
Oh. Wow. I mean, you hate to see it. And I don't know what his other charges he was, pulled over for, but okay. In the U.S., the argument is made for people to be able to carry, concealed weapons to protect themselves. Bermuda's the total opposite. I'm not defending people who are breaking the law. I'm just simply saying I think we need to address the root cause of why someone feels the need to carry something. The law is the law right now, but I mean, I'm just glad nobody was hurt and they were able to, stop whatever stopped. But I think there's a deeper conversation here.
Yeah, indeed. Well, in other news, and this one has to do with education. So let's just kind of wrap this up really fast so you guys can kind of get a breakthrough of what's happening right now. But last week, the Ministry of Education said that after overturning the decision about St. George's Prep, they'll be having a meeting with Whitney Institute. And it's come to light that this meeting is a direct response from a letter parents sent to the ministry that during their meeting with Principal Swan that they had, they were disappointed that no ministry official was present and that they are now urging a rethink of the government's decision to halt enrollment for M2 students next year. In a letter on the 27th of November, they said that Rashima Swan, the principal, met parents to discuss numerous concerns, but ministry representatives did not attend. There's a lot to keep up with in terms of signature schools, but the plans for phasing out the middle schools that was announced back in 2017 are now upon us. This month, the ministry said, starting in September 2025, students who have completed M2 and M3 by June 2025 will transfer directly into senior schools. Now, according to the Gazette, concerns are raised by parents about the Berkeley Institute being oversubscribed. It was claimed that the school had informed parents it could not safely accommodate M2 students along with M3 students due to arrival of next September. And you also recall that the SICOT at Cedar Bridge Academy was last month, and parents are asking if resources were in place for some of the signature school programs there as well. So the group questioned whether their children were ready to actually go into these senior schools the next academic year because they don't think things are actually put in place to actually, secure them a spot or even have the students be there comfortably.
I feel for the students, I feel for the parents, and I feel for the educators. I'm watching this closely, but I feel like every week it's a different school, going through something with the ministry. It seems like clockwork, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. And again, it's the same thing about just not having the communication that they feel like they deserved and warranted for all these changes that, this ministry is trying to make with the students. It kind of reminds me of what last year or 2 years ago when there was that PTA meeting and they were told about Whitney Institute and no ministry official was there or the minister wasn't there to, explain it fully. Now, moving on to maybe some happier news, because this is going to be a benefit for a lot of Bermudians, it seems, as the mortgage guarantee program that was launched in 2022, while it was designed to support Bermudians with their hopes of home ownership. And Jashay Adams, he's a junior minister of finance, well, he actually gave an update on the program to see like how it's actually benefiting Bermudians. And here's what he had to say.
I am proud to report that 52 individuals and families have become first-time homeowners or have been pre-approved and are awaiting the opportunity that best suits their needs. With a 5% interest rate, families with a $600,000 mortgage can save over $550 per month, while those with $1 million mortgage can save over $700 a month. It is also worth noting that to date, all mortgages under this program are current and in good standing. This demonstrates that when we alleviate financial pressures, Bermudians are up to the task, can meet their obligations, and build stability.
I need more details. I need to know from the minister, how much did they have to put down? Did he say that?
It is put up in the program itself. I can go back and look at it and get those for you next week. But
yeah, sorry about that. I just want to come to a better conclusion. But I congratulations if it's working.
Yeah, especially when saying that all of them have met the criteria, like that's nice to know as well. So closing on with some sports, and this one's kind of interesting. So there was a wasteful leadership of the Bermuda Olympic Association, or NSGBs, which are the national sports governing bodies in Bermuda, whom were able to voted between the current president, Peter Dunn, and Olympian Couture Horton-Panchief. So Island Stats actually reported on this first about the running, and the votes did come in, and Peter Dunn has narrowly retained his leadership of the Bermuda Olympic Association, edging out Couture Horton-Panchief in a closely contested vote. Now, how close? Well, this time he garnered 13 votes, while Horton-Panchief received 11 votes. Horton-Panchief, Donna Wayner, and Julian Fletcher were elected as executive board members for the next 2 years as well.
Well, I think the positive is that Couture Horton-Panchief is still going to be involved, and hopefully she, I don't know how often the elections are called, but she'll continue to give her expertise over the next few years and hopefully get that role or be elected to that role the next time it comes up with even more experience.
Indeed, yeah. Well, the last one was in 2021 when Peter Dunn had won. But yeah, I think it's like maybe 2-3 years or it gets cold. And in terms of weather for today, we're looking at sunny periods, cloudy over towards the evening, though. A little bit of light winds, but not too strong, hopefully. And we got a high of 68. So in the 60s, it's going to be a little nippy. So make sure you got your windbreaker on, as my grandma would say.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Maya. Today, it's actually International Volunteer Day. International Volunteer Day. History of International Volunteer Day. It's referred to as long form. It's a day for economic and social development. This day first got its start in 1985 when the United Nations General Assembly urged international governments to shine a spotlight and heighten awareness for the vital contribution that volunteer services make for communities and nations. So, how to celebrate? Volunteer. Host an International Volunteer Day event, and just speak about some of the organizations that may be great options to volunteer at. Audience, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to get in your pocket. What's an organization you volunteered for before in your life? Like just something you volunteered for. Maya, anything you volunteered for?
Nice. And I've raised money for a couple of charities. What's the last thing I volunteered for? It may have been, oh man, I can't even remember. But maybe it was like something to do with sports and training and teaching. I know I've done that a lot in the past.
I know one that comes to mind for you. Oh,
wait, the Olympics.
Thank you. Gee, I'm like, my goodness, everybody knows.
That's so true, yeah. The Olympics.
People player, but yeah, that was big. I mean, a lot of people don't know that Maya volunteered to do the Olympics, and to me, that was game changing. So that's something. And I want people to understand volunteer, even to raise as Bermuda Youth Connect. People wouldn't look at that as volunteer. They think like, oh, this is a political role, where it's a job or something. This is volunteer, folks. MS Society, says Marquita Lee. The Barclay Educational Society, says Anika DeShields. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, says Travelling Trotty. What else, audience? Come on, you've done. I mean, personally, I've been, I don't know if they still have it, YouthNet I was a mentor in YouthNet back in the day. I did Big Brothers Big Sisters in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I've coached in the US and Bermuda, so I've done that stuff. I remember doing a lot of tag day stuff back in the day. But my only, I don't like to give advice, but when it comes to volunteering, I would always say this, and I'll use Teray and Maya since they're in the team as part of that. Volunteerism gets the best out of you when it aligns with things that you're interested in. Please don't volunteer just to put something on your resume. Like for me, I only volunteered in YouthNet and Big Brothers because when I was young and my mom tried to get me a mentor, there were not enough men in the program so that I can be matched with someone. So do things that you have a love for, and trust me, your community would benefit. Maya, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
All right, folks, please do not go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this message. Really fun conversation with Travelling Trotty. Looking forward to this one. If you've appreciated the conversation so far, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We'll be back in 3 minutes, 13 seconds to continue the convo. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's. I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BEDC's General Microloan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
You won't miss out. Noah's Ark is open 7 days a week for the holiday season and with big savings. Whether it's everyday essentials like dog food or cat litter, or those items you've been eyeing all year like aquariums, our huge 8-page holiday flyer is out now, packed with incredible offerings until December 31st. And we're open every Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. through to December 22nd. Visit noahsark.pm, view our sales flyer, and join our rewards program. Noah's Ark, your reliable pack care specialist, making your holidays even more special.
Live exceptionally with HSBC MasterCard Pay with Rewards. Transform your points into what you love and get closer to winning an unforgettable trip to Dubai or one of 3 luxury experiences in Bermuda. To start following these steps, download the Pay and Rewards app from the App Store or Google Play. Register your HSBC MasterCard credit card in the app. Set your preferences to use points automatically or for your next purchase. Use your HSBC MasterCard for every purchase and redeem your points into rewards. In addition, for every $300 spent with your HSBC MasterCard, earn a chance to win an incredible monthly experience. Terms and conditions apply. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Bermuda Trivia, the Black History Edition, is now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Visit bermudatrivia.com or email contact@bermudatrivia.com to learn more.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to Maya for that news segment. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Lenders, and People's Pharmacy. Do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. During the break, we did have some others. Anika DeShield says volunteerism, Bermuda Health Council. Ken Edward Simmons says agricultural exhibition in the food division, coach volleyball, Duke of Edinburgh, track and field. Pamela Wade said YouthNet Mirrors program. So we've got a lot. But without further ado, we've got a very special guest today. We've got, you all know her. You've seen her in the audience. You've followed her page, Travelling Trotty. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to a member of the TDH community, Traveling to the Trotty. Oh, so, calm down. She's been here before. Morning.
Good morning, Jamel. Good morning, the Daily Hour family.
Happy Thursday to you. I you know what? I was just hoping I didn't push the wrong button just now. It happened yesterday, and I was like, don't do that, because you might throw something at me through the screen. How are you?
I wouldn't do that.
You good? How are you today?
It's a little chilly today, but I am blessed and truly thankful to be here to talk to the audience.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you came, because one of the things, and audience, I'll share this with you. One of the things in the survey, as you can see, we're trying to respond to the survey as much as possible. What you all have shared with us is you wanted to see more of us, like yourselves. You want to see more people from the TDH community, and more people, not just always politicians or business people. And that's our goal in trying to, have Simone on and Traveling Trotty, and hopefully we'll have Rosalind Famous and some others. I know we've had Karen Simmons and Michelle White on in the past. So we're grateful when you say yes and when you want to become a part of this. But we're going to be talking about Traveling Trotty today and your travels. And I just want to start by asking, a lot of people say they travel, right? Oh, I love to travel. I travel. And then when I ask where you go, oh, I love going to New York. Nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong, folks. Nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with New York or Disney World. But travel is so different today than when, in the 90s and the 80s. What inspired you to want to travel in the manner that you currently do?
I think it came from my family, mainly my grandmother and my mother, who traveled a lot. My grandmother traveled to the islands, to England, all over the world. So through her, I was able to be inspired and live through her in terms of travel. So that's kind of what spurred me to travel. When I was in college, when I was doing my master's on campus, there was actually a local travel agency there just for students that offered great discounts for travel during spring break and other holidays. And I started to pique my interest. I was like, this seems really, really interesting. And then because of the undergraduate and graduate schools where I studied, it also allowed me to interact with a lot of different individuals from different parts of the world and hearing about their experiences, how they live, their culture, providing me with opportunity to say, you know what, I'm going to come visit you. So that's kind of how it all started from there.
From college. All right. Gee, I mean, when it came to spring break in college, I took the cheap route. I went to Daytona 1 year because,
I went to school in Daytona. Daytona Beach was like 15 minutes away from my school. So Black Weekend and all of that. Yes. NASCAR.
You didn't have to travel far. But speaking of like what inspired you, I mean, how do you decide where you're going to go? Because you've been to, I mean, you can share some of the places you've been. I mean, I know the World Cup, Qatar, you've been to Kenya, you've been to it's too many to name, but how do you decide, you know what, I'm going here next?
You know what? I have an app that allows me to keep track of where I've been and where I desire to go. So I just have a running list. I follow a lot of other influential travelers online. I follow a lot of tourism pages, country tourism pages. So I just have a running list and I'm very open. So when I go and I look for travel, what really helps me to determine my next location is budget. That's the first thing that people need to establish when they're determining where they want to travel, what they would like to do is your budget. So I just have a running list. If you recall, on Tuesday was Travel Tuesday. So I was actively online on Travel Tuesday, looking at different deals that were available for people. So I just have a running list. So if for example, Iceland, I'm going to Iceland in February. I was like, okay, there's a deal. Let me grab that deal while I can. So I just have a running list. So I am able and always in a position to act upon when a deal becomes available. So I'm just open. The universe I know is going to take care of me. So I am open to all possibilities and adventures.
Okay. All right. Iceland. Well, let's go back a bit. this past summer, you came on the show earlier this year speaking about a Colombia trip, and I wasn't invited. You know, the fellas, we weren't invited, but I was told that the fellas would be able to get on one soon. But tell us about the group trip to Colombia. How many people was it? What did you all get to do? And what was the overall experience like?
I must say, for my first group travel experience, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was beyond my expectations. The feedback from this 15 women that joined me on that journey, and thank you to them for trusting me with that. It was absolutely dynamic and fabulous. What we did on that trip, or what I tried to create for the individuals that joined us on that trip, was not just the traditional, oh, we're going on a tour. I tried to encourage them and have them have an authentic Colombian experience, from the food, from the activities. And one of the big feedback that I got from that trip was that because everything was paid for in advance, it really like uplifted the women, where many of them said, if I spent $100 while I was there, that was it. So when I look at what we were able to create in Colombia, it was empowering women. What I do on my trips as well is always provide some downtime, because we as women were always busy. We're mothers, we're wives, we're partners, we're professionals. So I always create some downtime during the trip so they can explore and do what they want to do. So in Colombia, we went to Palenque, which is the first African village outside of Africa in the Americas. That was absolutely phenomenal. We went to a local eatery. Food is such a big part of travel now, because when you travel, you want to get that full experience. You want to taste what the locals taste. And some of that meant street food. It does not always mean that we'll go into a fancy restaurant. It also encourages us to live authentically, actually visit the country, not just say you visit, but you want to visit the country. So when you leave that country, and in our case, Colombia, you felt like you had a true authentic experience when you were there. We took a boat trip. We went to see Escobar's summer house. We had a party in the water. We also did a city tour. I'm a person that loves pictures, so I hired a photographer, and we had a beautiful photo shoot in the old city. So I created a lot of unique experiences for the women on that trip. And the feedback, I'm an educator in my professional life, so I did actually a survey to ask them for the feedback, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So I am very thankful for them trusting me to create an ultimate experience with Travelling Trotty.
I mean, anybody else just got sold on Colombia?
Colombia has 12 million Black people. I don't think a lot of people realize that. There's a lot of influential Black experiences in Colombia. And when I was there, Jamal, I actually hired a Black company. And I tend to also engage in women entrepreneurs in the countries to make sure it's women supporting women.
Indeed. No, I appreciate that. Really good information. And to be clear, what I said earlier about, the world has opened up, right? We don't travel like we once did. Colombia was not a place 20 years ago people would just go, and this is important to remember. So it's a whole different world with amazing opportunities beyond the 21 square miles most of the people tune into this listen to. Live within, sorry. There are a lot of people who want to travel, and folks, keep your comments and questions coming. We'll get through them, but there are a lot of people who want to travel. You just mentioned that, the first thing is budget, right?
Yes.
And it's not always budget why people can't travel. I mean, myself, just now, I traveled back from Kenya via Amsterdam. And the longest flight I took was from New York to South Africa, 16, 17 hours. And back then, I was drinking, so I just drank, pass out, and it was easy, being honest. I was restless on that long flight. I was like, are we not? And every time I'm looking, it's like, still got 3 hours, still got 2 hours. Like, it was just so long, 9-hour flight coming back from Amsterdam to Atlanta. And there are people who just, for whatever reason, they want to go places. But the idea of travel is just, it's so much. What would you say to people who are like, maybe deal with travel anxiety, or are there close destinations to Bermuda that you would consider where you could get a full experience, and so on?
Oh, most definitely. I think that every city, even if you're looking at going to America, to the USA, there are a lot of unique experiences that you can create and discover in every single city. Most of us don't think about going to Utah or going to New Mexico that have awesome experiences. I mean, I just got back 2 weeks ago from Arizona. I mean, looking at the Grand Canyon, looking at the spas there are absolutely fabulous. So it doesn't always have to be far. It really depends on what type of experience are you trying to engage in. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a relaxation experience? Are you looking for adventure? Is it family orientated? Is it a girls trip? Is it a couples trip? Is it a bay trip? So depending on what your desire is, will help you to determine what is the location that meets my objectives of what I'm trying to achieve on that particular experience that you are going to. Now, what I encourage people to do, just like you put money aside for financial, for pension, well, you have a travel fund. You want to set aside some money every single month in a travel fund so that you are building that up. So whether you know that you can travel every year, every 2 years, every 3 years, you're working towards that goal. And I just saw your HSBC commercial, and I actually smiled because I have an HSBC Bermuda card. And every single purchase that I make, I do it on my HSBC card because I know those rewards are going to help me in my travel experiences and help to reduce that cost. So I'm using my everyday expenses to help to offset the cost of travel. So that's what I encourage people to do. Now, for me, I can get on a plane and go directly to sleep. So I went to Arizona for a family member's birthday. And it just happened, Jamal and the audience, that Usher was there. So on my last night, I went to the Usher concert. And from the Usher concert, I went directly to the airport. So team carry-on is the best way to go when you want to have those quick trips and experiences.
I want to echo what you said. I as much as I may complain about the BTA as an organization, when I was working there, I had to travel a lot. And it really opened my eyes and it helped me understand, how challenged the industry is. And, a lot of people think that people in the BTA are just doing a horrible job of marketing. No, the whole conversation is the challenge that we're up against. The world has opened up. There are little towns in the middle of, Iowa that are fighting for tourism dollars that have experiences that you're like, wow, who knew this was here? Lagoons just as beautiful as the Crystal Caves, right? There are places in the Caribbean, in Mexico and Central and South America where we wouldn't have went before that have so many things to offer. So thank you for that. I guess, and I'll share why I asked this question. What do you hope people take away from the experiences that you share on social media from your travels? Because I'll be honest with you, I remember seeing when you went to Kenya, and you actually told me, I'm gonna share this publicly. She said to me before I went to Kenya, pack your patience, because she knows me very well. I don't have that. She said to me, pack your patience, because you go on that safari, you're not gonna say, and I don't have patience, folks. You know me. That's why I was up and down, walking up and down on that flight. Like, are we there yet? Right. But in saying that, you looking at what you shared, even the World Cup, I was like, man, I should have tried to jump on that. You've made me feel like I should have tried that. I should have did this. I should have did that. Well, what do you hope people take away outside of hoping they could have went on that exact trip?
I think for me is about inspiring people to step outside your comfort zone, to be open to experiences that you may not be able to get in your home country, whether that's Bermuda, whether that's Kenya, or whether that's America. Being able to be willing to try something new. So when I visit a country, I'm going to do everything possible that I can because I'm not sure when I will have the opportunity again to visit it. So in my travels, I'm trying to expose people to experiences, but also we are so much alike across the world than we are different. So there are certain things. So in Colombia, when we went to a lady's house for cooking demo, what I tried to do, as I said earlier, was to have that authentic experience. And she had something very similar to what we have, which were cassava cakes. She also had their what was it, coconut cakes she had as well. Very similar. So what I'm finding throughout my travels that we have so many things that are alike. So my point is to inspire people. Don't be afraid. Embrace it. Sometimes I'm scared. I'm like, oh, do I really want to jump out of that plane? But I earn up to it and I say yes, because if not now, when? And I also think I'm an educator. So I also think that allows us to build connections with people. No matter where I go in the world, I love talking to the locals. I love interacting with them because you learn so much more about the country. And that's even for us here in Bermuda. I think there's a lot that our tourism product can benefit from by looking at our sister organizations and our sister countries that we can implement here in Bermuda to improve our tourism product overall.
I like that you said that, because I was actually going to say that in my closing remarks, that I think one of the greatest things I've experienced from travel is the things we can learn as a country and a destination. Let's go to the questions. We've got quite a few people. Dexter Smith said, enjoyed Colombia in March, outstanding walking city tour.
Yes.
But Monica Casey has a question. Where do you find your deals?
I find deals on a variety. I'm on a lot of mailing lists. If I'm on my phone, most times I'm looking at various travel deals. There are like peak times in the year that you want to start planning your trips. One is Travel Tuesday, which is always the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Another one, if you're planning trips, you want to start at least 90 days in advance. If you're trying to use award travel, you're looking at least 11 months in advance. I'm going to a wedding in April in Miami, and I was able to get an award ticket for $16,000. I mean, 16,000 miles. That's nothing when you look at travel, because traditionally travel to the US is about 30,000. So I got it for halfway. And I think the time of year that you want to travel. So if you're looking at travel and you're looking at some of the hot destinations in the world, you want to try to embrace those destinations during the shoulder season. So right before or right after peak season is some of the best time to travel. So the calendar year also has a big impact on when you should travel and find those deals.
Indeed. Thank you for that. Here's one. You've probably heard me say this more than once, that my only interest in travel is to destinations, Black Africa. But many other John's asking, I recently saw an article indicating countries that are not hospitable to Black people. Do you pay attention to such?
I've had some rough experiences in maybe one or two countries, but generally they have been very open. When I first went to India, we were at this palace, and I guess a lot of them had never seen Black people. I felt like a celebrity. Everybody wanted to take a picture and touch you and touch your hair and all of those aspects. So for myself, generally, I believe the universe is going to take care of me. So I have not had many bad experiences when it comes to the color of my skin and travel. I've had a lot of positive experiences, and that does not deter me from a particular location. It makes me more aware, but it doesn't deter me from venturing out to various countries. Not at all.
Indeed. Well, we've got Sherilyn Johnson. She says, sorry, I missed that Colombia trip. She missed the trip to Colombia. Well, then Tina Duke just threw it in her face. The trip to Colombia was epic. So, yeah, you missed out according to everybody. Karen Edward Simmons, she's asking, can you advise how to make travel more expedient through airports?
Well, that's a great question, Karen. Thank you for that. When you're looking at travel, I would say I have both passports. I have a Bermuda passport and I also have my UK passport. There are some advantages that come with the UK passport. One is global entry. If you do not have global entry, that is one way that you can definitely expedite coming through the airport. Now, for those of you who have a UK passport but do not have global entry, there is something that the U.S. government has just implemented if you're coming through one of the major ports in the U.S., and that is MPC, Mobile Passport Control. You can only use it with a UK passport, and that also helps to expedite you coming into the US at least. When you're going through other destinations, like when I went to Jordan, I actually paid for concierge service. There are some destinations that offer concierge services. And for me, I also did it in Egypt, where the person meets me when I'm exiting the plane. They take my passport, they expedite me through immigration and customs, collect my bags, and I'm out of the airport in most times in 15 minutes. So sometimes you have to pay to have that advantage of getting out of the airport a lot quicker.
Indeed. Thank you for that. Yes, Shikarina was asking, would you recommend obtaining global access? I mean, I guess MCP global entry, but there's a new thing, I guess, called digital ID or something. I don't know what that is. I don't know how I got signed up. But when I say I float through airports, the only thing that keeps me at an airport long is waiting on my luggage. Like, that's the only thing. And I'm just like, wow. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's beneficial. Those are the kind of things for a person like me who lacks patience. Convenience is important. We've got another question here. Charles H. Jefferson II, he's asking, what travel mistakes have you made that you think will be helpful to those who aspire to travel to far off places?
I think one of those travel mistakes that I've made early in my travel career, I guess you can call it, is not doing sufficient research on the destination. So very, very early, me and one of my good friends that I travel with, we went to a particular country, and I didn't realize that the country was Muslim. And I had on some shorts, and I got some strange looks. Why am I wearing shorts? So it made me very conscientious. So now what I do is that I make sure and I research the customs, the culture, so that I'm being respectful, because I understand I am a guest in that country. And in order for me to fully experience the country, I need to be respectful of their culture and their customs. So I would say, make sure you're researching your destination to make sure that your personal agendas, your personal goals and travel experiences aligns with what that country offers you as a tourist.
Indeed. Charles got another question. Charles H. Jefferson II, he's asking, you mentioned rewards travel. Are you loyal to an airline and or hotels to get,
Oh, most definitely, Charles. Most definitely. I'm American Airlines team. I enjoy the experience on American Airlines. And I also do hotels. Now, when it comes to hotels, I'm a bit more open, because I realize that when you get from this side of the world, that there are not the same chains. So when I go to a Kenya, or when I'm in a Qatar, or when I'm in other parts of the world, those chain opportunities are not necessary. So you're not going to get a lot of those American chains. So I'm more flexible on the hotel side than I am on the travel side. I do try to stick to American Airlines and their partner One World Alliance groups, because in the long run, it benefits you. So now when I travel, because I'm platinum, I get free upgrades, I get free luggage check-in. And another tip that I would give people is, if you do not or cannot afford, say, a pass to the lounge, you have priority pass, which gives you the option of going into lounges all over the world. And then also you have minute suites. So as I just explained, when I came from Usher, I came right from the concert, jumped on the plane. I was in Charlotte. I needed a bath. I needed to freshen up. I went to minute suites, which I have a membership for, and I was able to shower, take an hour, relax, and then get on my plane to come home to Bermuda. So those are some of the advantages that help your travel experience, especially if you have long layovers. You want to get in those airport lounges, because it's food, it's drinks, and it saves you a hell of a lot of money.
Indeed, indeed. One last question from the audience. Mark Arthur T. Phillips asking, what countries have you not traveled to, and what countries are on your travel list?
Countries on my travel list for 2025 so far are Iceland in February, and 2 weeks in Italy, which I'm trying to do carry on only because of what I'm trying to create during that experience. I have not been to South Africa. I've been to East. I've been to West, I've been north, but I have not been south. So south is high on my list. I also want to go down to Australia so I can take that lovely cruise in Antarctica. That is very, very high on my list. But I realize that's something that I have to budget for because the cruise alone is $10,000. So that, yeah, is an expensive destination. So that's something when I talk about putting money aside for certain trips, you have to plan that out because it's quite pricey in regards to that. Some of the other destinations that I would really love to go to, I love to go to China. I would love to see the Great Wall of China. I am working on my 7 wonders as I travel as well. So I've been to Egypt, I've been to Brazil. So I'm working on that as well. So I have multiple lists of things that I'm trying to experience during my travel adventures.
Alrighty, and I lied. One more. Charles asking, what is the app that you use to manage your destinations that you've been to or want to go to?
It's an app called Bin. Countries Bin, and in that app it breaks it down by country, it breaks it down by cities. You can either say you live there, you want to go there, or you've been there. So that's the app that I use for that. But when it comes to just traveling, I use TripIt. It allows me to condense and have all information about my trips in one location: hotels, airfare, even my seats, anything that I'm doing, that allows me to do that. And I want to encourage the audience that a lot of the airlines around the world, what they have is free layovers. So on my way to Bali in March, I went for my cousin's wedding. She decided to get married in Bali. I actually stopped in Turkey, and I was able to stop in Turkey for free. Now, with Turkish Airlines, which is a beautiful airlines, I was able to have a tour for free. So if you're in Turkey for 11 hours and 59 minutes or less, you have a free tour. If you're there for more than 12 hours, and some airlines allows you to actually do a layover for up to 3 days for free, where they will give you a hotel. So all you're doing is paying for your tours and your experiences. So that is another way where you can experience different countries along your journey of wherever you're going or coming from. So that was definitely a blessing for me. I had been to Turkey before, but I was able to stop there again for free. It included lunch, ground transportation, a tour guide, everything. And it was a beautiful experience and a great way if you want to test out a city and you're not sure whether, I don't know if I want to go there. It gives you a great way to get a little teaser, a little taster before venturing there for a full vacation.
Interesting. And I was going to ask this, Charles beat me to it. Bin, can you spell it for us? Because the accent.
Yep, you spelled it right. B-E-N.
Oh, got you. All right. Before you head out, how can people get in touch with you if they're interested in jumping on any of the excursions with you?
In my bio on Instagram, there is a link to a Google form. You just click that Google form and I will put you on my mailing list for my future adventures. The Iceland trip is sold out because what I try to create on these trips is intimate trips. So the trips are not very large. They are more intimate, so it's quiet. So for my Iceland trip, it's actually only 7 women going. I have rented an Airbnb, so everyone has their own room. So that's I really try to personalize my trips. But outside of that, yeah, you can just click the link or you can just DM me and I will get back to you. I've also helped people plan their trips. So they may not want to go on a Travelling Trotty adventure. They may want to do a vacation or a family vacation. I also help people to plan their individual vacations as well.
Vacations, folks, ladies. Plan that vacation for your boo. Thank you so much, Necheeka, for doing this, having this conversation. Hopefully, people are inspired by your experiences and the conversation this morning. Charles, important question here. Is this upcoming trip women only? Again, he put in capital.
Again. Oh, well, for Iceland, yes. Okay. For Iceland, yes.
Charles,
but Charles, hold on. I am thinking about doing a sports trip. For men and women. That's something I'm actually actively investigating now. As you know, I went to Qatar, I went to the World Cup, and that was just like a beautiful experience. So I'm looking.
Charles, it's okay. We'll start a Travelling Trotty men's division. All right, Charles, we'll start a men's division. But thank you so much, folks. Follow at Travelling Trotty hit her up on Instagram, click that bio, find out more. Thank you for all that you've shared and keep sharing those experiences. Hopefully more people will be inspired to, as I often say, grow beyond their environment. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, Traveling Trotty folks, if you appreciated that conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share that conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break. Don't forget, coming back, we're going to announce today's winner. Today's winner is going to be a $50 voucher. Yeah, another $50 voucher. I'll tell you where after this. 2 minutes, 41 seconds. Stick with us.
Right. Who was the first woman to become not just the first female opposition leader in Bermuda, but throughout the entire British Commonwealth?
Dame Lewis Brown Evans.
Hey, buddy. Hun, who was the first woman to serve as opposition leader, not just in Bermuda, but throughout the entire British Commonwealth?
Dame Lewis Brown Evans.
Mason, what did you say?
Dame Lewis Brown Evans.
Dame Lewis Brown Evans? Where do you find that?
Mommy playing Bermuda Trivia.
Mommy playing Bermuda Trivia. Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you. Good job.
It's true. Children are a reflection of their environment. Bermuda's favorite trivia game, fun with a purpose. To educate, to entertain, to inform, to inspire, to learn, and to enjoy. Bermuda Trivia, all volumes now available at various stores throughout Bermuda. Visit bermudatrivia.com to learn more and follow Bermuda Trivia on your favorite social media platforms.
Live exceptionally with HSBC MasterCard Pay with Rewards. Transform your points into what you love and get closer to winning an unforgettable trip to Dubai or one of 3 luxury experiences in Bermuda. To start following these steps, download the Pay and Rewards app from the App Store or Google Play. Register your HSBC MasterCard credit card in the app. Set your preferences to use points automatically or for your next purchase. Use your HSBC MasterCard for every purchase and redeem your points into rewards. In addition, for every $300 spent with your HSBC MasterCard, earn a chance to win an incredible monthly experience. Terms and conditions apply. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Pair with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear. You can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All right. Thanks again to Travelling Trotty for stopping by for an inspiring conversation about travel. Folks, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share that conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. I just want to thank the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lenders and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we can have these conversations on a regular basis. It is time. Well, before that, let's get today's giveaway. So it's a $50 gift card to Cassine. Cassine is owned by our colleague Mia Chambray. So $50 Cassine gift card. And the person today, the email is Karen at the award. So Karen at the award, you have until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning to send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com. Again, only one person is claimed so far, Hassel Nicole. Outside of that, we have FN Walker and Sugarpool Ent, who lost out. So Karen at the award, send an email for you to collect your $50 gift voucher to Cassine by 7 a.m. tomorrow. The email is engage@thedailyhour.com. All right. It's time for the Daily Play. Here we go. So who's going to be joining the winners this week? Here we go. Daily Play is brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, here you go. First person to answer this question correctly on my screen. Name the reindeer whose name, name the 3 reindeer whose names begin with a D? No one got. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Anika the Shield showed up first. It's Donna, Dasher, and Dancer. Yes. Donna, Dasher, and Dancer. Yeah. So Anika, are you in there already? No, she's not in there. So we've got Anika joining Mark, Sheldon, and Karen in there for the week. Yeah, someone said Diamond. Someone said Donald. Okay. Not Dexter. Yeah, it's Dasher, Donner, and Dancer. Well, Donner and Donald sounds the same. Yeah, right. All right, folks. Charles says, couldn't Google fast enough. What? Dixon? Is there a reindeer named Dixon? I mean, a couple people said Dixon. Yeah, it's Dasher, Donner, and Dancer. Yeah. A few people said Dixon. Okay. I'll have to Google too, Charles, but according to the Christmas game, it says Dasher, Donner, and Dancer. All right, folks, got to get out of here. Here's a quote for you today. Here's some daily. Well, I have to wrap it up. Regarding the statistics about the demographics of what Bermudians make in Bermuda, I think it should concern us all. As I said earlier, there are enough Black people who are not just good at what they do, but great at what they do. Yeah, we're a majority, but that's no excuse as to why we should not be at least where the average is. And folks, as I said earlier, if we're not getting what we deserve, don't be afraid to create it for ourselves. I'm not happy that we make less in our country, but there's something that we can do about it. And I love the suggestions from the audience about the government offering tax incentives to companies who actually have a focus on giving Bermudians who have the skill set and the work ethic the opportunity to help their companies. Here's daily, as far as Travelling Trotty, real quickly. I absolutely love that she shares her experiences. I do. I think social media used right is when you share, things that can inspire people. I tell you all the time, the things that I follow on social media, things that inspire me, that motivate me, that help me to want to live better. I think she does that. And my hope is that people are inspired to live beyond, what's normal to them, to get outside of the echo chamber, to experience things for themselves. As I said about visiting Africa, every African country I visited so far, all three, it's not what we were sold on television when I was younger. Get there, experience it for yourself. You won't regret it. Daily inspiration comes from Helen Keller. Quote, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all." End quote. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. I am Izal. Peace.